Well, that takes me to the next issue, because one of the central issues kind of getting involved in all of these various theaters of crisis in the country kind of surround this idea of what it is that the traditional institutions ought to be doing within the context of the peace-building exercise. My understanding of the peace preservation law that Governor El-Rufai is saying that he's going to bring into effect is that traditional institutions would now potentially be at the highest level be removed if they have not exercised the influence needed to hold members of their respective domains to account. Do you think that potentially bringing in a measure of consequence or punishment for traditional institutions that are not able to effectively influence and control their domains, do you think that could lead to more effective peace building in conjunction with some of the security measures you mentioned?
I support any actions taken by the governor of Kaduna State to bring peace and unity in his community, in his state. I support the idea of traditional leaders playing a role in the issue of security architecture of their communities, because they are on the ground. They have ears on the ground. They've got their cabinet. They know their people very well. So these are all ideas to bring peace. However, we need to first of all to test the ideology, the processes, the penalties, to make sure that we are not putting the horse behind the cart. And what I mean by this, are we trying to make the traditional leaders to become the chief security officers of their community? What happens to the local DPO? What happens to the local police officers or army, military cantonment in that area? So we need to actually make sure that we don't muddle and just get confused in the name that we are trying to look for peace.
Something that's complementary rather than a replacement, essentially.
Exactly. Because when we do all those things, we don't want a situation whereby a police officer believes that a traditional ruler have committed a crime. But because of this kind of confusion, he's not sure that if he can actually accost the traditional leader to ask them a question or even arrest them, because they are being given more powers that even the police officer will say, I don't want to mess with this particular traditional leader. Let me stay away from this. Because we have seen situations in Nigeria where there's been issues of girl child being taken away into certain places of traditional thrones, and police officers cannot get in there to ask anybody question. So this kind of extra introduction, extra power from the government of a state to traditional leaders, is it going to add value? However, what I think in solution-wise they should do more is start to create the atmosphere of community-based relationship. Start to create an atmosphere of, we call it the suspect and victim relationship. So whoever the suspects that have committed crimes in this situation that have been arrested, yes, you can go along and punish them, but try to create a conference where the suspects meet their victims face to face. They understand that we don't have anything against each other, actually. This rumor of hatred between you and me doesn't have any reason to exist, because the people that originate this hatred, their children are all overseas, are all safe somewhere, that we actually brothers from the same community, from the same state, from the same local government areas. So when the suspects meet the victims, they create this unity, this forgiveness, and it creates an atmosphere for them to move forward in unity. And also, something else we should also be thinking of doing is the issue of identification. Right now, we don't know the 55 people that were killed in Kaduna State. We don't know their names. The next thing we're going to hear that they've all been buried in mass.
Do you have proof of that? That they have
not
identified? I don't know that that has been proven at all.
What?
I'm saying I don't know that your allegation is a proven allegation.
Okay, let's say alleged 55 people killed. All right, let me use a more diplomatic term. The alleged 55 people that were killed in Kaduna crisis. We don't know who they are. When it comes
I'm sorry, sir. I'm not referring to the number that's not confirmed. I'm referring to your notion that we don't know their names. I don't know that that's confirmed, that we don't know who they are.
Listen. I've been in Nigeria for quite a long time. And from a professional perspective as an ex-British police officer, I've seen in Nigeria consistently that when people are killed in communal crises, within 24, 48 hours, mass graves are being dug. and people are being buried. I can tell you that from Agatu.
But has that happened in Kaduna State now, is what I'm asking.
That's what I'm saying. Right now, it's been more than 3 days. I've not seen on Channels TV or on any other channel where the names of those people killed were mentioned. So we can connect to the pains of the families. We can know that their time on earth is done. We can have the right death certificates to show that they are dead. But we have to stop this idea of people died, we don't know who died. And people are arrested. We don't know the 22 names that were arrested. We don't know who they are, even though they've not been found guilty. But we should be able to know. Identification is a very strong tool in fighting communal clashes and terrorism.
I'm sure all of our viewers would agree with that. Mr. Agbese, what is your thoughts about his submission?
Well, you know, just like the trending issue, you know, about the resurgence of the appearance of Nnamdi Kanu, you know, he was able to mention his dog and, you know, didn't even know the other persons who died as a result of issues between him and the military. I think I'll give it, you know, to him that he has a good point there, you know, for people who lead others to also. But that, you know, goes a long way to also tell us, you know, the premium that we place on life as a society. I believe every Nigerian, you know, has a name, has an identification process, you know, and you see these people, whether they are street urchins, you know, hawkers or whatever, they are known. They were given birth to by someone somewhere. They come from a community, and you know we should know them. But I think that is not, you know, for the media, for China's television, or for us to discuss their names or their identity. What is important and paramount is the sanctity of life, and that is why, you know, we're having this discussion this morning. To what extent, you know, are the security issues in Nigeria, and what, you know, are the things, you know, that we need to do